In ancient Rome, a woman could not vote. She could not hold public office. By law, for her entire life, she was placed under the authority of a man, her father, her husband, or a guardian. And yet, some Roman women owned enormous fortunes. They ran businesses and vast estates. They divorced their husbands whenever they chose. They made and unmade emperors from behind the throne. And one of them shut down the most powerful men in Rome with a single speech. The real lives of Rome's women were nothing like the silent, obedient housewives of the myth. The truth is stranger and far more powerful. This is what life was really like for the women of ancient Rome. Let's start with the cage, because the legal limits were very real. A Roman woman was a citizen, but only halfway. She could not vote in the assemblies. She could not run for office or command a legion. And under a system the Romans called tutela, a woman was supposed to have a male guardian sign off on her most important legal decisions. Even the children she bore did not legally belong to her. They belonged to their father. On paper, that looks like a woman with almost no power at all. But paper is not the same as life. And in practice, Roman women found room to move that women in most of the ancient world never had. Start with money, because in Rome, women had it and kept it. A Roman woman could own property in her own name. She could inherit it, buy it, sell it, and pass it on. She could run farms, workshops, and businesses. And crucially, in the most common form of Roman marriage, a wife's property stayed her own, separate from her husband's. That single fact changed everything, because it meant a Roman woman could walk away. Divorce in Rome was strikingly easy, and either side could start it. A woman could simply end her marriage, take back her dowry and her property, and go. No court drama, no permission required. In a world where women elsewhere were trapped for life, a Roman wife with her own wealth was a woman with real leverage. Now, what did daily life actually look like? At the center of the Roman home stood the matrona, the wife and mother. Far from being a servant, she ran the household, its finances, its staff, its enslaved workers, the education of the children. A respected matron commanded genuine authority inside her own walls, and Roman society praised her for it. Outside the home, women worked everywhere. They ran shops and market stalls, worked as hairdressers, midwives, and nurses, wove and sold cloth, and some even practiced as doctors. Roman tombstones proudly record women's trades and businesses. But we have to be honest about the other side of Rome. For enslaved women, and there were vast numbers of them, life was brutal and without rights, their bodies and labor owned by others. And for every celebrated matron, there were countless poor women whose names we will never know. Rome's freedoms were real, but they were not shared equally. And then there were the women who stood completely outside the ordinary rules, the most powerful women in Rome, the Vestal Virgins. Chosen as young girls to serve Vesta, goddess of the hearth, these priestesses swore a 30-year vow of chastity. And in return, Rome gave them power no other woman could touch. A Vestal needed no male guardian at all. She could own property, free slaves, write her own will, and control a fortune. She had the best seats at the games, and with a single gesture, she could pardon a condemned prisoner and save his life. To harm a Vestal was one of the gravest crimes in Rome. And beyond the temple, again and again, Roman women bent history to their will. There was Cornelia, mother of the Gracchi, so respected as the ideal Roman woman that she was honored with a public statue while alive. Widowed young, she refused to remarry, educated her sons herself, and shaped two of the most famous reformers in Roman history. She called them her jewels. There was Hortensia. When the rulers of Rome tried to fund a war by taxing the fortunes of the city's wealthiest women without giving them any voice, Hortensia marched into the forum and delivered a blistering public speech. Why? she demanded. Should women pay for a war they had no part in starting? The most powerful men in Rome backed down and slashed the tax. A woman, with words alone, had beaten the state. There was Fulvia, the first real living woman to have her face stamped on Roman coins. She was a political force who rallied supporters and even helped raise and command troops in the chaos of Rome's civil wars. And in the age of the emperors, women moved to the very center of power. Livia, the wife of Augustus, was the most powerful woman of the early empire, advisor, power broker, and quietly one of the most influential people in the Roman world for decades. And Agrippina the Younger became the mother of the Emperor Nero and did more than anyone to put him on the throne, ruling in all but name. So here is the paradox of Rome. A woman could not cast a single vote. She could not hold a single office. And yet Roman women owned fortunes, ran businesses, walked away from marriages, served as untouchable priestesses, faced down the state, and steered the greatest empire on earth from just behind the curtain. They were told they had no power, and they found it anyway. That is what life was really like for the women of ancient Rome. Before you go, if these forgotten women deserve to be remembered, do two quick things. Tap that like button and subscribe, because there are so many more of them still waiting to be found. And tell me in the comments, which forgotten woman should we bring back next? I read everyone. These are the daughters of history.